You getting mad? I'm not a speciesist, but I am an ableist, and also advocacy because advocacy. I am an ableist. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not a speciesist, but I am an ableist by everyone's favorite Unnatural Vegan. Just pumping out the bad takes. Pumping them out. Looking forward to it. I watched a little bit of this video to see if it wasn't just clickbait. It's not clickbait. Surprise. Surprise. What are you talking about? Non-workers aren't getting the checks? No, that's not what I said. What? I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I said I don't think that relief checks should be tied to whether or not you're employed. So if we just could do direct relief checks, it's better than just raising a minimum wage. So I guess fuck my deaf parents. Yes. Yes. They're too. They have daredevil skills or something. I'm not for it. Not for it. Can't do it. Rather be vegan. Here we go.
Hey guys. So turns out I'm not a speciesist. So this is actually a critique of one of my past videos, a video from a few months ago called I Am a Speciesist Vegan, or Why I Am a Speciesist Vegan. So yeah, this should be fun. So I'm going to start by critiquing myself, clarifying some things, and then I'll move on to advocacy again, because why not?
Swear to God they have to. They can just... I don't know. You think her cat is vegan? I fucking hope not.
Essentially, I misunderstood the definition of speciesism, as some of you pointed out.
Wow. Misunderstanding of a definition from her? No way. As a furry, I can 100% confirm I am a speciesist. God damn it. Mr. Scudamunga. Give it one to Prismatic Fairy. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
In the comment section of the original video. As Peter Singer writes in Animal Liberation, speciesism is a prejudice or attitude of bias in favor of the interests of members of one's own species and against those of members of another species.
You're gonna hate this.
So in the burning building scenario in which you can save only one, you can...
What is a speciesist? I don't know. You might be lagging behind just a second, but they literally just showed it on the screen.
Can save either the human or the dog. Speciesism would be choosing the human solely because it's a human. Pretty simple. But where I fucked up was in my understanding, my interpretation of anti-speciesism. So I took anti-speciesism to mean that all species are equal with regard to moral relevance. So there's no difference between choosing the dog or the human, ethically speaking. This is false. This is not what anti-speciesism is. As Peter Singer writes in Animal Liberation, avoiding speciesism does not mean we must hold that it is as wrong to kill a dog as it is to kill a human being in full possession of his or her faculties.
Did you catch that? In full possession of his or her faculties. Here we go. Here we fucking go, dude. Oh.
The only position that is irredeemably speciesist is the one that tries to make the boundary of the right to life run exactly parallel to the boundary of our own species.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah. Not fuck no. Oh fuck yeah. Oh.
Anti-speciesism is simply recognizing that species is irrelevant with regard to moral concern, just like race is irrelevant, gender is irrelevant, etc.
She's going to say differently abled are animals? Oh, it's worse than that. Oh, it's worse. Don't worry. Don't worry, Bree. I'll help you find your way. Oh, yeah. By the way, if this episode makes you mad, then obviously you've come to the right place, because this is trash after all.
There may be reasons to choose the human over the dog, and 9 times out of 10, this is the rational choice, but that choice has nothing to do with species.
Oh no. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Oh no.
There are many areas in which the superior mental powers of
Schmoop, thanks for the tier 1 for 3 months.
normal adult humans make a difference. anticipation, more detailed memory, greater knowledge of what is happening, and so on. These differences explain why a human dying from cancer is likely to suffer more than a mouse. It is the mental anguish which makes the human's position so much harder to bear.
Oh, here we go.
I accept the normative view that there is greater significance in killing a being who has plans for the future, who wishes to accomplish things, than there is in killing a being who is incapable of thinking about the future at all, but exists either moment to moment or within a very short time horizon. For example, a time horizon limited to thinking about eating something in the near future.
So if you don't know what this means, if you're getting lost a little bit in the weeds here, right now, she's reading a thing from Peter Singer in a book, and she is agreeing that in the case of a saving, so say there's a trolley problem, there's a dog and there's just a person, just a human person. It's worse to kill the human because the human will experience more suffering as the trolley bears down on them, basically. Because they have the cognitive ability to understand that I'm going to die, my future is fucked, like stuff like that, right? And I tend to agree. I tend to agree that as your ability to understand pain, like from an emotional perspective, sure, okay, I can buy that humans have the capacity to have a broader understanding of pain. Because we have so many more ways to experience it than, say, a dog. That said, don't kill puppies. They're the best. Run over the person. That's an emotional response, but still. Ben Shapiro versus Darwin. I run over Ben Shapiro even if Darwin's not on the other track, okay? If Ben Shapiro and nobody are on the fucking rails, you know the lever I'm pulling, all right? It's for the greater good, goddammit. Yeah, in Minecraft, of course, because you need the red power nodes to power your rail. You know what I'm saying? You get it. So yeah, but anyway, so this is up to now logically consistent, I suppose. It's not necessarily more moral or I would say again ethical since it's applied, but whatever.
It is, other things being equal, much less a tragedy to kill that sort of being than to kill someone who wants to live long enough to do the sorts of things that humans typically want to achieve over the course of their lives.
I know, much like the human being in this example, you and I can both see the trolley coming down the tracks here. A dog would not understand the mental anguish that we are all collectively feeling right now as we see the ableism train bearing down upon us.
This is a graduated view of moral status, as Singer puts it, that's based on cognitive ability and therefore degree of suffering.
Okay, so if we're going on cognitive ability alone, if she's on the tracks versus a dog, it's kind of a coin flip at that point because this lady can't fucking think. She cannot fucking think. Like every video, she just has a terrible fucking take. Her brain doesn't work. You know what? Maybe I don't know what it is. She got a B12 deficiency because she's been vegan for so many years. Does B12 deficiency make you illogical and dumb and an ableist? Okay, here we go.
So, with the burning building scenario, it's rational to choose the human over the dog, since the typical human is more sentient than the typical dog, and therefore would likely experience more anguish. Similarly, it would be rational to choose the dog over a fish, or the fish over a beetle. However, this doesn't mean that it's
as your Mako, thanks so much for the tier 1.
Always rational to choose the human over the dog, or the dog over the fish, etc. We may
etc. Okay.
May legitimately hold that there are some features of certain beings that make their lives more valuable than those of other beings. But there will surely be some non-human animals whose lives, by any standards, are more valuable than the lives of some humans.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Here comes the examples of humans whose lives are less valuable than animals. Oh, no. Oh, no. I will say, from henceforth, I have no idea what's going to be said. So, forewarning to you, she could say, and he could write, fucking literally anything from here on out. I have no idea. So, buckle.
A chimpanzee, dog, or pig, for instance, will have a higher degree of self-awareness and a greater capacity for
Oh, no!
meaningful relationships with others than a severely retarded infant or someone in a state of advanced senility.
Dude, I'm sorry. Is this just like a Destiny deep fake? And he's just this is fucking so bad, dude. Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, fuck. Okay.
In such a case, where the choice is between
She might say it again. I don't know.
saving a human vegetable.
Whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck? Now it's human vegetable? That's not what was said. Oh my god.
Or a fully functional sentient dog. The
Holy
rational
fucking
moral
shit.
choice would be to save the dog.
Wow. 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 This is so bad.
A speciesist, in this case, would never make the rational moral choice. Some of you may balk at what I just described, choosing the dog over the severely mentally disabled person, because this is ableism. Ableism, in case you don't know, is prejudice against people with disabilities. So just like a sexist values one sex over another, and a speciesist values one species over another, an ableist values non-disabled people over disabled people.
Oh boy. This is I told you. Literally we watched her yesterday and we're like, this is worse than this is worse than some Chud videos. This might be worse than those by a lot. This is like the faux intellectuals take on Nazi eugenics, not realizing that they're the baddie. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my god. Johnson, thanks for following. Okay.
In general, I agree
13th NK. In general, I agree
that ableism is irrational.
Okay.
For example, it is irrational to ascribe less moral consideration to someone who is physically handicapped in some way. They're in a wheelchair, they're blind, they're deaf, etc. But what I'm talking about specifically is cognitive ability and sentience.
Oh, God!
If the only rational metric by which moral status can be determined is sentience, it would be irrational to apply the exact same moral worth to all creatures regardless of their degree of sentience.
Holy fucking shit, dude.
It would also be irrational to apply any moral status to a creature, human or not, whose mental disability is so severe that they are in a permanent vegetative state and no longer possess sentience. I know this is a very sensitive subject, and it may just feel wrong to value a dog or a pig or a cow or a chicken over a human being, but ethics is not about feelings. I mean, a racist, I'm sure, who grows up
Jesus
as a
fucking
racist in a
Christ.
household full of racists probably feels like black people are inferior, and they probably feel that it's wrong to think otherwise.
So, for the record, if you feel like someone that with a disability has more worth than a dog, you are equivalent to how a racist feels about black people? Okay, she's so dumb. Why is she so dumb? Why is she so dumb? Okay, maybe, hold on. This might make me reconsider if the vegans are correct just in general. Sorry, vegans. Sorry, vegans. I don't know how, what's going on here? What's going on here? How many times did her parents drop her on her head? I don't know. I was dropped into a hot tub once. Do we value her less because of her cognitive capacity? Which is not a lot. Yeah.
Making moral decisions requires us to put feelings and intuitions aside and instead to look at each case rationally and honestly. Either you believe all animals are equal from a dust mite to a human and it's equally wrong to kill a mite and a man, or you're ableist.
No, that's stupid. Or you're ableist.
Which is actually rational.
Which actually is rational.
Because
Holy
it
fucking
moral
shit.
value based on ability and cognition. Or you are a speciesist, which is just as irrational as the initial proposition.
It's not about speciesism. It's not even about ableism, right? You use would you consider someone's capacity for pain or just like why? This is the thing with these kinds of fucking people, right? They're like, oh, it's only an emotional decision. What do you think people base life and death decisions on? Like, what? Emotions. Because you form bonds with people and animals and shit like that. No one has ever formed a deep bond with a dust mite. I'm going to toss that out there. Statistically, maybe one, but probably not, right? So it's why we don't form an emotional bond with a dust mite. We do form emotional bonds with humans, dogs, cats, pigs, cows, whatever. And so there are some people, me included, where I'd pick my dog over some human I don't know. I love my dog. I don't love you. Sorry. I love my dog. I just would. It's not a rational response. Can my dog have more like Can he experience the same emotional pain? No. Can he experience the same physical pain? Probably. Very similar, right? But I don't fucking know you or care. My dog is in danger, and I love him deeply. And I don't have the same thing for you. I'm not going to take the time to do ethical fucking math on this. And if someone has a mentally... like a developmentally challenged individual, like they have a really hard time, like I don't know, maybe very severe Down syndrome or something, where they have to be assisted in life, and independence is sort of a tenuous affair where it's like you really want to try to get independence, but not. But there's lots of Down people that have fucking pretty normal lives. They just experience life differently. Their life isn't less valuable because I am a big brain boy and I have a big Twitch channel. And I can do the big think. Like who gives a fuck? If you love your I don't know, you might have a brother or something, or a sister or whatever, a cousin with tremendous like issues when it comes to like their Down syndrome and how they experience things. and you see me standing on a cliff, you love them. You don't love me. You might like me. You might even want to hang out with me. But I mean, like, it's not because, oh, I think Jake can do more math in his head. Like, probably not, by the way. I think Jake could hold a better job in society. Who gives a shit? You love your person you love. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. This is so fucking stupid. Actually, so stupid. Transjustine, thanks so much for the 2 months. Appreciate you. It's all my mental preparation. It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. And if you don't like saying it's irrational. No, look, I don't like. We've talked about this before. I don't like making arguments based on emotions, right? I don't think it helps people. However, emotions are valid. That's totally different, right? Your emotional stake in someone, like, consider how death affects not just the person experiencing death, but the person experiencing someone else dying, right? Whether that's a dog or an animal or whatever. Whoever's in charge of that decision is going to have to deal with that, and they're going to make the emotionally wise decision, which is, in fact, check it out, rational. There's some sort of bullshit with mental health that, like, we just dismiss outright for some reason as a society. Like, ooh, that person's real smart, but I don't love them. But my baby wow, my baby can't think at all. My baby's really stupid. I mean, relative to that grown man, my baby's a damn idiot. Wow, baby, get a job. You're not worth anything. And frankly, even though I love my baby deeply, the fact that this man over here, this big strapping lumberjack of a man in his Caucasian's hoodie and his glorious beard and wonderful hair, very fuckable. Definitely fuckable. Definitely a fuckable man. I have no idea if my baby's going to grow up to be fuckable. That's a crapshoot. That's a crapshoot. But that man right there, very fuckable right now. Gonna go with that guy. Irrespective of my emotional attachment to my own fucking child. Come on, dude. Come the fuck out. Oh, irrespective, maybe it's even different than that. We'll fit in their fucking dumbass parameters right here. What if it's your fucking child that has, like, again, like a developmental disorder? I'm sure they're very against autism too. I bet this guy is like this person and also her super against, like, fucking autistic people. Like, autism, vaccines, yes, autism, what an affliction. Like, like, fuck off. So stupid. You are my souse? Probably spouse, right? Yeah. Anyway. Are you gay queen? What? Not a lady. Not gay. I don't know, man. If I was, though, you know. Cool. She made a really problematic video about autism, which makes me stop watching her vids. Wow, I'm not surprised. By the way, this is just some fucking forum post for the record. If you see this down here, just a guy, Brimstone Sal, just a guy, just some dude.
Which one are you? 1, you believe mites and humans are morally equal.
Okay.
2, you are ableist and believe things with little to no cognitive ability have less value than highly intelligent and sentient ones. Or 3, you are a speciesist and think non-humans have no comparative moral value and all humans have equal moral value by virtue only of having human DNA.
Or 4, you are an emotional individual that will use emotions to make decisions, and we understand that it's going to be contextual based on that, because we're not dum-dums. Everybody through 1, 2, and 3, huge dum-dums. Really big, small brains. Really big, small brains. A small boulder the size of a large boulder, brains. Like, what is happening?
The only rational position with regard to ethical consideration is an ableist one. If all of this seems like nitpicking, I am slightly sympathetic. The speciesist and the rational person, the rational anti-speciesist, will make the same choice the majority of the time. They both will choose the human over the dog.
What?
However, this does not mean that speciesism is rational. Someone who chooses the human over the dog is still irrational, even if they ultimately end up making the rational decision. And of course, the speciesist will be wrong in certain situations because of their irrational belief, like choosing the severely brain-damaged person over the...
I hope she sleep eats an entire ham. What kind of fucking... What a strange insult that I like a lot. I hope she sleep eats an entire ham. First of all, the logistics of getting a ham into her vegan household seems like a stretch. Second of all, she has to have a sleeping disorder in which she seeks out food. Third of all, her subconscious mind would need to get after a ham. And then four, her vegan taste buds would have to enjoy ham. All of this and not wake up in like a fucking like ham-induced waking nightmare. Like, that's strange. That's strange. I like it, though. Someone give that person a sub. Who's that? Dustin a... Wait. Was it Dustin a Spectrum? You already have a sub. Not reasonable. Someone buy them another sub. I don't know how it works. They deserve it, though. That was good. That was a good one.
Fully functioning sentient dog. It's similar to saying that a food is good because it's natural and unprocessed. It's true that 9 times out of 10 you would be right, but you're not right because natural is inherently good and unnatural is inherently bad.
Wow, finally a part of this video I can agree with.
There are reasons why whole unprocessed foods are typically better. They tend to be more nutrient dense for one thing. And there are examples where natural foods are unhealthy or less healthy than processed foods, like the egg, light life, black bean burger comparison that I gave in my last video.
A better example would be wheat. The only nutritious way to eat wheat is to pulverize it to smithereens, pour water on it and drown it, and let that shit fester and rot. And then you put it in fire. Only then is wheat consumable. Corn? Right off the fucking cob. Right off it. Fresh. Bite into it. Hell fucking yeah. Corn, 100% of the time, nutritious. In any way. Wheat, you need to literally kill it 4 times. So, they're cousins? Yeah, and fuck that cousin.
It's really important to make these distinctions so that we can avoid irrational and ultimately harmful conclusions.
Here's another flaw in our logic. With that logic, it would be okay to eat a person that isn't sentient. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, she's a vegan, though, right? So...
like that.
Although she does value them less than an animal. Does she think for an omnivore it would be reasonable to eat a human more than... That's interesting. That's fascinating. So I know she's a vegan. She says that there's no situation in which you should eat an animal or use an animal product. I'm fine with that. However, she does understand that there are omnivores that do eat meat. So in the scenario where there's an omnivore, is it more ethical to eat a cow that is its full cow faculties or to eat someone who's brain dead? What's more ethical? No, they can't consent. They're brain dead. So I mean, like... I didn't say both were immoral. No. That's not the question. What's more ethical? Is it more ethical to eat the person that will never experience any of the suffering? Is the human ethically sourced? They were until the event of their brain death. They were free range. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Or can you eat the cow? Is that more ethical? Interesting. The human can be locally sourced, yes. Did Sarah just peanut gallery you? No, I think she's just yelling about Final Fantasy or something. She always does that shit, though. Eating a cow is less ethical. Interesting. Interesting.
Severely cognitively impaired non-sentient people deserve respect, whereas on the other hand, the fully functioning, sentient, feeling pigs can live lives of...
Seriously, you're talking is and right or wrong. She's talking about oughts? No. I'm talking about ethics, which aren't applied oughts. They're choices, right? So I'm not talking about what's right or wrong. There's no black or white, right or wrong. So, in fact, you're wrong, Marcus, because I don't deal in that kind of like finality to a decision. I talk about ethics. So what's more ethical? Not is it ethical? I don't think it's ethical to kill anything to eat it. However, I do like a steak. So, fuck it. I'll do an unethical thing. I don't really care. Assume you're not going to get any of the prion bullshit. That's fine too. Like, I think that's only from brains, by the way. Neither are ethical. Easy answer. No, but one is more ethical. They don't have to be positively ethical for one to be more negatively ethical. It's really just running away from the question if you're not willing to talk about it. Like, come on. Pretty boring answer. Pretty boring not to just go, no, neither. It's like, no, you have to. There's one or the other. It's called philosophy, my dude. Don't just like change the parameters of it because you're uncomfortable with the question. It's boring. It's boring. So.
Constant suffering, and it's perfectly fine because they aren't human. Or that animal products are good for us, and therefore farm animal suffering is a-okay because meat is natural. I do still hold that talking about speciesism with regard to animal advocacy may be unnecessary and may be ineffective. As I talked about in my Why I Don't Eat Meat video, most people are for avoiding unnecessary suffering. Eating animals and other animal products is unnecessary, and doing so causes suffering.
Again, totally, ableist towards anybody that needs animal proteins or has a limited diet for literally any reason at all. Yeah. Lab-grown meat is the cheat code. Could be the cheat code, yeah. Lab-grown meat could satisfy that issue where vegans like this, the worst vegans, don't take into consideration people that need animal proteins for any reason. Don't take into consideration like if you have pet cats, they need that kind of shit. Don't take into consideration that like, is a free-range cow that dies at the end of its life for meat, is that a better existence or a worse existence than having entire extinction of cows in general? Because they're not gonna exist outside of that. I mean, sad to say, it's too far gone. They don't have, like, we've ruined their shit. You know what I'm talking about? So this is boring. How about you go eat a dick? This is this is boring. Everyone knows the answer. She's talking about being fucking ableist. The subject of the video is ableism and speciesism, not just veganism. You're fucking boring. You're fucking boring. Douchebag. God, I hate that shit. That's so fucking dumb. Get a hot 600. Enjoy your 10 minutes. Come back with a renewed perspective, or don't. I don't care. You either have to eat a cow or your dick, which is more ethical. And neither of them want to eat you. So that's actually the interesting thing. Come on. It's not my point at all. People judge ethics relatively. Yes, so I didn't prescribe a moral ought or an is or a wrong or right because it is relative. So I don't know why you would write that in the beginning the first time, Marcus, but that's okay. Not in general, but in reference to other ethical claims. Eating flesh is wrong, but acting as if eating a flesh of an animal is unrelated to how we view the sentience of those animals is simply wrong. I didn't say that. I'd rather someone ate my corpse after my death than ate my dog alive, and that's not risible. Lab-grown meat is ideal. I think you're just not, like, really... I think you're thinking about what you're trying to say rather than hearing what I'm saying in that scenario, I think. Because, like, there's 2 or 3 things here that I'm not talking about, and, like, you're trying to disagree with me about it. Anyway. Plants have flesh, too. They do have flesh. That's true. And it seems like Spinach can email you now, so...
Therefore, choosing to purchase these products
That's true,
and
by the way.
support this industry causes unnecessary suffering. So, if most people are consistent in their beliefs, they should go vegan. I fear that bringing up species...
If most people want to have a less overall suffering, sure. I would tend to agree. But the thing is that vegans... Again, this is such a problem. Not socialists, really. Communists have this problem as well. It's communists have the same problem with capitalism that vegans have with omnivorism. Communists tend to not, and I mean, like, I want communism tomorrow. Communist, not. I'm just, a lot of us are functionally like. Anarcho-communism is obviously the goal kind of people. That's not what I mean. I mean people who's like, revolution, let's do it tomorrow. Like, I used this example the other day, but capitalism is a pool, and you are in the pool. Communism is the deck next to the pool and the towel, right? You're still going to be wet for a duration of time as you move from pool to deck to towel, right? You know what I mean? Like, you have to deal with the problem of capitalism regardless. It's baked into the fucking culture. You have to address cultural zeitgeist. You have to address all this other stuff. Same thing with omnivorism versus veganism. Veganism can be and is the ethically correct answer, right? But also, you can't just, like, wash your hands of the culture of human history over the course of the last, I mean, literally all of evolution. But let's just say since the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago, when we started to have a choice in what to eat, like, baked into the fucking culture of human existence is being an omnivore. We are evolved omnivores. We crave animal proteins legitimately. Part of the reason that we even have these brains is 2 parts. One, we used to eat really fibrous stuff, right? And it made the muscles here, which is, you see these in chimps a lot, makes these muscles. You ever get tired from chewing on something? Like corn chips do that to me sometimes. The muscles right here get really, really tired from like chewing something that's really like you gotta grind it. That in development, that actually brought our brain plates sort of like down a little bit. Our frontal lobes didn't have a lot of space because those muscles were tight. It's just a very fascinating part of evolution. And what happened was we started to eat meat, which is obviously not as fibrous, and we started to be able to get that more consistently through the use of tools, which meat used to be like a sort of I mean, it is kind of now still in a way to some people, but like a delicacy, a rare thing. Animal fat, specifically bone marrow and stuff. And once you start having a cooking as well, just the application of fire, which first started probably with meat, and meat again has this rich protein, and you get a lot of calories from it. It's much more calorie dense and fatty than something like a plant, although you can get the same kind of experience from sugar, which is why we crave sugar a lot, because we evolved in a sugarless society, basically, and then only in the last 300, 400 years did we really have access to heavy amounts of sugar, and so we haven't actually evolved to balance that out. And so with the advent of the agricultural revolution, we're sitting in spaces and we're growing our own food, which means we have a surplus, right? And then coupled with the evolution before that, where we started being able to use tools and cook meat and eat it, very nutrient dense, these muscles started to become less important. And you could start to have people mate that didn't have these hyper-developed muscles And eventually it just naturally grew into, well, the plates on the top of the head aren't being pulled down by the force of these muscles. And we started to be, there's some more stuff that happened too, but your frontal lobe was able to start to grow. And because it was able to start to grow, we started to be able to have better ideas about how to do this stuff. We're literally 10,000 years from like even understanding this. So like, we're still walking out of the pool, man. You can't expect us to be dry right now. There's some people that walked out of the pool a little bit earlier. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. High quality protein from meat rather than leafy plants allowed our intestinal systems to get much smaller as well. This freed up a lot of blood flow. That's true. And so, yeah, there's lots of reasons that we're omnivorous. I mean, our teeth are obviously part of that, where it's you know, we just have the ability to be omnivorous. We also just calorically, like at this point, our bodies have evolved to need certain things. B12 is a great example of something you need to have a supplement for. By the way, supplements aren't very, very effective. Usually part of the reason that something like B12 works is because part of the mastication process, the saliva, swallowing, it being all in your tum-tum, and how it breaks down alongside the things that B12 is usually a part of with the proteins and stuff like that is part of it. I could talk about food science and evolution and all, and the agricultural revolution and the I could talk about that shit forever. But we also have like a similar issue with bread. A lot of people claim gluten intolerance, when probably the problem is not that you're intolerant to gluten, but that you're intolerant to the additives that they put in a lot of bread to substitute the fermentation process that they skip in industrialized bread companies. Because supplements aren't very effective in the way that we absorb them. But the way that real bread works, like if you just make some bread, like a sourdough, those nutrients occur out of the fermentation process, the milling of the wheat, the heating of it, the water additive, obviously the yeast activation when it is fermenting and everything like that. You can live off of real bread like that forever. You couldn't live off Wonder Bread forever. And now there are some people that have celiac disease, but if you just give someone that claims gluten intolerance but doesn't have celiac disease, it's pretty likely they just have a sensitivity to the types of industrialized breads rather than the gluten inside of it, which is interesting. I would pay money to hear you talk about food history. Well, you have an opportunity right now because that's what I'm doing. Feel free to gift subs. Glutinous tolerance is mostly bullshit. So it's not bullshit in that they feel shitty, but it's probably bullshit in where they're placing the blame. Yeah, probably bullshit. Some people might be that. I know someone with gluten intolerance who eats McDonald's nuggets that are covered in gluten. Interesting. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. So it's usually just bullshit. But anyway, this is a long way to talk about. Like, you need to understand we can't do this shit overnight with veganism. It needs to be a step program. We need to be doing different aspects within, like, the social fabric. We need to do different things from a consumer standpoint. If there was a McDonald's of veganism right next to my McDonald's, I would go the vegan place a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be quick and easy for people. I mean, it's definitely a class issue. I know people say, like, you can eat beans and rice every day, but no one wants to fucking eat beans and rice every day, dude. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you gotta eat fucking gruel because some cows are dying. Like, I don't like that cows die. I don't like factory farming. It is an ethical fucking quagmire. It's bullshit. It's really fucking sad. It's incredibly painful. But people don't want to fucking eat beans and rice every day, bro. Like, mental health, and I understand it's not as... It's a cow. It's a cow. I care about them as well. I grew up in a situation where cows were right across the street from me my whole life. Cows and chickens and shit. Remember I talked the other day, I'm brown chicken eggs. I'm kind of egg bougie now at this point. Cows, they were just milk cows. They weren't even forcibly bred or anything. They just had some cows. They made some milk. They had a bull. And sometimes they'd fuck. You know what I mean? And then they'd have the milk and they'd make cheese and make milk or whatever. And they'd Oh, we got some cheese coming soon. Like, cool. But like, so I have like a little bit of a different relationship. So I get it. But like, man, there's just some people that need this shit. They don't have money for fucking, you know, they don't, or the time. They're trying to live a life in poverty. Like, they might not even have a fucking stove or working stove. Might not have the space to keep beans and rice in bulk. Might not have the time or the money to buy those things. I know they're cheap, but damn, sometimes it's easier just to, maybe you work at McDonald's. It's easier to get a free meal at McDonald's or a half-price meal if you're like me, fucking bullshit, than it is. It might be way cheaper to do that for a more caloric value than eating beans and rice, bro. So like, meat terminology based on classism. Oh yeah, the fact that it's called beef or pork or venison. Oh yeah, that's based on classism. That's a old time bougie thing. Yeah, and it's not called cow because rich people wanted to eat beef. Wanted to eat venison. Oh dear. Yes. Yeah, it's basically just a naming thing for marketing purposes, and then they would take the bad cuts and give them to the poor people, the bad cuts. You know, like sausage exists because of poor people. Fried chicken exists because of slaves. Collard green, stuff like that. You have what's another good example? Any charcuterie in general is the bad parts of the animals being turned into really delicious edible food. Most good food arrives out of poverty. So grits are a great example of this. Soup in general, stews. Yeah, lobsters, Jesus Christ. Anyway, sirloin. Barbecue absolutely is. Yeah. Shrimp and lobster was for prisoners, right? Lobster was. They used to get sick of lobster on like ships and stuff because you control for that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to watch the rest of this. She's just an ableist piece of shit. That video is a little old, but she hasn't taken it down. And I don't think she's changed her mind on it. But it got sent to me by someone who watched her quite often. So